I wanted to take myself out of my comfort zone. I talk about marketing all the time. I could talk about networking. I've done that before. I've done a lot of networking over the last 4 or 5 years. Foreign's been a massive part of that. But again, that's quite easy. I've made networking work for me. Sam now makes it work for the company. Chris is here for the first time, so we're spreading that networking word. So that's, again, that was quite easy. It only really came to me yesterday what I was going to talk about when somebody kicked me in the balls. So then I got on the phone to the missus. Do you know what's just happened? Do you know what they bloody said to me? And I was ranting, really angry. And then I felt quite guilty about the situation because it was kind of partly my fault in the first place. And then over that 20-minute phone call, she went, yep. She was just on the other end doing this. I think actually she put it on speakerphone and carried on washing up or something. Or walking the dog or whatever. Not because she doesn't work, but because she's on holiday, she's a teacher. Thought I'd best clarify that. I'm not suggesting that my missus stays at home in the kitchen. That's not what I'm suggesting. I know, yeah. I know. This is actually being filmed. I hope she don't watch this back. So anyway, I was on the phone, and over that 20-minute period, I found myself at the start really, really angry. At the end, after 20 minutes, absolutely inspired. To the point where I'd inspired myself. I had shivers down my spine and I was going to go and rock the world and prove everybody wrong and everything like that. So that's where the first thoughts of this foresight came from. And then after that, I started thinking. Later on in the day, I was in another meeting and this guy introduced me. This is David Walker. He's an absolute genius at marketing. This is a guy I've worked with for probably 5 years now. Well, maybe 4 years now. And it's like, wow, do you know what? I didn't say that. I was like, oh, you're all sheepish and stuff. But actually, in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, you fucking am, you know. I'm really good at marketing. And then I thought, that got me thinking again. 3 times in the past 4 months, people have come up to me and said, oh, Dave, it's really inspiring what you do. And they look at me like it's easy to me. You know, they look at me and one person actually said to me, they said, I don't know how you do it. I find it so hard in business and you just make it look easy. And at the time, I was a bit taken back by that, and I probably didn't answer it in the way that it should. And I'm thinking, it's not fucking easy. It's really fucking hard. Business is really tough, and I find it extremely tough at times, even now. You know, and this is, I've got a company, I employ 10 staff. I've got fantastic employees around me. I've got other businesses, other interests. I've got companies that work with us that are multinational businesses, and it's really tough. People look at it from the outside and they look in and they say, oh, it's a natural, comes to him naturally. Actually, I don't think anything in life or business comes naturally. If we had a spear and we were hunting wild pigs in the forest, that's probably what comes naturally to us. Business and life today isn't easy, it's tough. And I find it extremely hard. And so today I wanted to talk about some of the challenges that I have, potentially, but perhaps more so the ways in which I keep going. Because yes, I find it hard, but nothing ever keeps me down for more than a few minutes. Nothing ever keeps me down. And that's the first point I want to come to, is that when you're running a business or when you're trying to achieve a goal, you have to find your why. And I know that many of you will have read books and watched videos and everything else around this, but you have to find why you want to do it so badly. My original why was when I grew up, we didn't have a lot. Get the violins out. We didn't have a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong, we always had food on the table and, you know, we were never going to starve to death. We had some things. But there's a particular moment in time that I remember. I went to school and it was after the Christmas holiday and everybody was talking about what they got for Christmas and they had all these things. I think at the time the first PlayStation had just come out, or it was maybe the Sega Mega Drive. I'm perhaps over-egging my youth there a little bit. Probably the Sega Mega Drive and or the Game Boy or whatever. It was Game Boy. Chris, that's before your time. Yeah. And I can remember thinking to myself, please don't ask me, please don't ask me, please don't ask me, because I really didn't get much that Christmas. It was a particularly tough Christmas for us. And again, you know, I'm not playing the violins here. We had stuff and I got presents, but it just wasn't as much as my my friends at the time. And I can remember, and it did come round to me, and I did have to list everything that I got and my brothers got and my cousins got, and it still wasn't as much as what everybody else got. And I got a little bit teased for that. I was never bullied or anything like that. I was a pretty popular kid at school. Bit of a class clown, can you imagine? So I got teased a little bit, and so that's always been a real driver for me. I always remember that one day. I don't really remember much about school. I don't think you do. You sort of remember that it was good times and stuff like that, but there's not many specific events that you remember, and that is a specific event that I remember. But it's only in the last 6 months that I found my other real why. So I want my family, sorry, just to finish the point off, I want my family to never want for anything. I want them to have the presents that I always longed for as a kid. So that's a real driving point for me. However, I still don't think that that's enough. I've found a new why in the last 6 months. And that why for me is that I want to create a legacy. I always thought that I wanted to build a £100 million business. That's like one of my goals. I want my businesses to be worth £100 million. And believe me, I will do that, whether it takes me 10 years, 50 years, whatever. At some stage, you will be able to look my name up and it will say Dave Walker, owner of a £100 million business. And that's one of my real driving points, or I thought it was. Actually, it's not. The £100 million business is just a method to get to something. What my driver is, I want to create a legacy. I want people to look at what I've achieved and see in themselves that they can do something. So I started off with nothing. I've gone through a process of nearly losing my house, and I might come back to that in a bit, not being able to pay my bills, and every other challenge that you can imagine in business. But a real driver for me is I want people to look at that. Well, if he's gone through that and he's got to that, I can do that. And I want to create this legacy and inspire other people to genuinely go and achieve what they can achieve. And that's a massive driving point for me. So that's my why. The first point is I really, really think that everybody needs to have a real think and work out what that why is. Write down your goals, but sometimes your goals are just a transportation method. It's not necessarily about getting your goal, it's about the process that you're going through to achieve it. And that's that £100 million business for me. I've got to create a £1 million business first, Christ, you know, but we've got to go through those processes. So that's the first thing, the why. The next point that I wanted to talk about is you have to believe as well. You know, I have come to the point where I was 3 days off having my home repossessed, and this is only going back about 18 months. I had staff. I had what appeared to be a successful business, and it was. We had some amazing clients even at the time. But I came 3 days within losing my home. I'd ignored the mortgage, I'd ignored the bills that they'd been sending through, and it was a case that it had gone through court. It had been approved that they could come and collect my house if I didn't pay up by a certain date, and I actually thought I'd lost my house. But yeah, I was within 3 days. I'd nearly got to the point where my home was going to be repossessed. Thankfully, I had very good friends and family around me. They stepped in and loaned me a little bit of money to pay off the debt. And I've paid my mortgage ever since, obviously. But yeah, that was a real point where actually what I should have done, in all sense, should have just said, Dave, go get a job. Because about 12 months prior to that, I'd turned down an 80 grand a year job. Somebody came to me and said, Dave, come and work for me. It's 80 grand, you'll have your company car. That was a difficult one to ignore. But 12 months previous to that, I was ignoring an £80,000 a year job because I believed in my business. I should have gone and got a job when I was nearly losing my house, but I didn't because I genuinely believed in what I was doing. And thank fuck I didn't, because my business has only grown ever since. You know, and I've got some more fantastic staff. We've got more fantastic clients. You know, and things have gone from strength to strength. So you've really got to have that belief to get you through those moments. You know, genuinely, nothing ever gets to me where I think, shit, I can't do this. Actually, I know I can. Nothing will ever stop me from achieving my goals because I genuinely believe. Part of that belief is visualizing what you want to achieve and picturing yourself there. There isn't a day that I go to sleep where I don't get in bed and think and dream of where I'm going to be, standing in front of my private jet and having my kids on fantastic holidays, whatever that dream is. You know, I always do that of an evening. And you've got to believe in it. You've got to believe whatever. The next thing that I've found in business is that you've got to surround yourself with the right people. There's some wonderful people in this room, and you're already doing it by networking. I've found that there are too many people who can quickly drag you down, too many negative influences. You need to learn to cut those people out of your life. Seriously, just get rid of them. Life's too short. Only work with the people that make you feel good. But the reality is they come in and they might be wonderful at the job. Some of them are wonderful at the job, but if they're negative, it just drags your team down. Don't hang around with negative people. People who always need petting and looking after and loving, and I just can't be arsed with that these days. So I've genuinely decided to cut that out of my life, and I think it's so important to do so. One of the big life-changing moments for me was getting a coach. Genuinely, I got a life and business coach. Debbie Huxton, some of you have met, and she genuinely helped me change my life for the better. Having that external person who's not related to you, is not a friend, just somebody who you can go to get some support, some advice, and just some clear thinking. Sometimes you just need somebody who you can sit down and just list all your and you list all those things, and actually just writing them down and going through them with somebody immediately helps you get through it. Helps you put a plan together. So I think having a mentor or a coach, there's a few people in this room who can help you with that. Genuinely seek that advice, and pay for it, because the best ones you have to pay for. You don't get good coaching and advice for nothing. The best coaches will demand a certain price, because you know why? Because they're living life properly. The next one is quite important. Don't believe the bullshit. There's so much bullshit. Who's on Facebook? Who's on Facebook? Right, if you're not, you need to, because unfortunately that's life, like it or lump it, that sort of thing. Facebook's full of crap. How many times a day? Oh, shut up, you. You know what I mean? The amount of people on Facebook and stuff like that. My life's this and my life's that. You're thinking, oh, yeah, brilliant. Oh, whatever. Anyway, there's some real idiots on Facebook and every walk of life, but full of shit. Just don't believe it and don't worry about it. That's the thing. You've got to learn to ignore it. Sometimes you see people, do you see that? Putting that post on Facebook? Yeah, so what? Get over it. Just ignore it. You've got to not believe the bullshit and move on. And it's taken me a long time to get over that, by the way. I didn't believe Sam's bullshit for a long time, but,
Kept going.
Yeah. I know, yeah. The other thing is that you've got to continuously strive to be better. Through my struggles, these are some of the things that I've forgotten to do at times. I've forgotten to read books and improve my skills. I've forgotten to listen to audiobooks whilst I'm driving. I do an epic amount of driving, and it's an absolutely poor excuse if you don't stick an audiobook on. You stick that radio on and you might nod your head a little bit and feel great when you get out, but actually if you listen to an audiobook that's going to improve your life and your skills, that's going to make you feel a lot better in a year, 10 years' time, because you're going to start learning from those things. Education doesn't stop when you leave school or university. You should always be in school. You should always try and improve things and make put yourselves into a position where you're striving for the best. Plus 24 now is built on the foundations that we all share and love, these amazing books. Everything that has ever been invented or thought of has been written about. You just adapt the ideas to be yours. You just adapt them to suit your situation. We always share books in our business, and that in the last 6 months we've probably just started doing that, Sam. And our business has just gone like that in terms of improvement and the service that we're offering and things, because we're sharing those thoughts as well. And finally, just one more point in my sort of career, you've got to stand out. Chris Clark is the world's best stander-outer. Nobody ever forgets Chris, and that's absolutely where you need to be. If you just blend into the mix, you're never going to achieve your goals. You've got to stand out in some way. And whatever that is, it can be anything. I stand out because I'm a bullshit, but, the reality is it can be anything. When I first started networking, I didn't talk about what I did. I didn't really know what I was doing back then, but I didn't really talk about what I did. I used to stand up, and some of you in the room will remember that, how long that is. That's ridiculous. I used to stand up and I used to talk about random facts. So I spoke about, you'll like this one, Deborah. The random fact, one of them was at school once I found a load of letter-headed paper, And I went into the IT room and I wrote a letter and printed off and said that it was school non-uniform day that Friday. And I got one of the year 7s to go and deliver that to one of the classes. The teachers never found out it was me, by the way, till today. So one class came in non-school uniform for that Friday, and that was just random facts, but it made people giggle. But these random facts are what made people remember me, and that sparked a bit of an interest in 4N at the time, where people weren't talking about business. People were actually just talking about their random facts, and it generated such a good atmosphere, and I was the guy who created that at the time. So you have to stand out in some way. Find that way of standing out. Your T-shirt is brilliant. It makes you stand out. You know, it's those kind of things that are important. So I just want to recap then. I wanted to put myself out of my comfort zone and talk about something I'm not comfortable talking about, because I'm still massively self-critical of where I am. I expect to already have that £100 million business, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm so driven to go and get it. I'm my worst critic. But I wanted to put myself out of my comfort zone and do that. And I wanted to, it kind of, going through that process kind of helps you just remember what you have achieved as well. So when I was starting to write this, I started by writing all the great things that I've already done and what my team's done and the people around me. You've just got to believe. So I wanted to do that. Hopefully you've taken something away from it. I'll just recap. You've got to find your why. Most important thing. You've got to believe. I believe so much. I've tattooed believe on my body. You know, I genuinely believe it that much. It means so much to me, that word, that I've literally scarred my body for life with that word. And lots of other things as well, but that's one of them. You've got to surround yourself with the right people. Find a mentor. It's an absolute must. If you can't afford a mentor at the minute, there's plenty of people out there who will help you and maybe on a peer-to-peer basis. If you can't find an individual mentor, go out and do it on a peer-to-peer basis. Go to events and learn and educate. Don't believe the bullshit. It's so important not to get wound up by the bullshit that's around. And finally, just stand out from the crowd. Make sure you stand out from the crowd, whatever you do. Thank you very much.